WrestleMania 40 Night 1 review. Let's get into it. So the show starts off with Triple H coming out to the ring and basically just dawning on a new era and doing the "Are you ready? Welcome to WrestleMania" shtick. But the first match of the night was Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley, and these girls cooked. These girls had a really good match. Apparently Becky Lynch has been sick all week. She had a high fever, she had a sore throat, all of that stuff, and she still put on a very good match in one of the matches of the night. Slowish match, but everything they did well. There wasn't any botched spots, there wasn't anything that looked dodgy. Everything they did was clean, they did well. And yeah, but it wasn't the most fast-paced match. It wasn't overly slow either. It was a decent pace. Perhaps this match shouldn't have kicked off the show, and you rather went with an exciting match to kick off the show. When I say exciting, I mean a fast-paced, spot-heavy match. If this match was in the middle of the card, I think I would have given it more praise, simply for how the psychology of this match went about. But yeah, very good match nonetheless. Rhea Ripley comes out on top, gets the win, just as I predicted and just as we all thought it should have happened. And yeah, good stuff. Ripley's entrance was absolutely amazing. And the finish to the match with the riptide into the turnbuckle and then a riptide again. Super interesting, fresh, new, exciting. Great stuff all around. Then we had the six-pack tag team match with DIY, New Day, we had Awesome Truth, we had A-Town Down Under, we had New Catch Republic, and we had one more team, who am I forgetting here? Judgment Day. And this was a really fun, exciting, chaotic match. Exactly what I thought it would be. I thought it would be chaos. We're not going to get a 5-star classic out of this, like a Ricky Steamboat, Ric Flair 5-star classic, but we're going to get a lot of fun. And that's exactly what we got. And the New Catch Republic and Regeneration X, in other words DIY, were the MVPs in this match for me. They put their bodies on the line. They did some big spots. I mean, we saw New Catch Republic do moonsaults off the ladder. Then DIY or Johnny Gargano DDT'd Pete Dunne through a table. Then we saw an air raid crash from Tommaso on Tyler Bates off the top of the ladder. These oaks really put their body on the line. And speaking of putting their body on the line, JD McDonough also got involved to try and help the Judgment Day, and he got put through tables with ease. JD McDonough doesn't survive another pay-per-view. This man is literally trying to end himself. I'm telling you now. So A-Town Down Under, so Austin Theory and Grayson Waller ended up getting the SmackDown tag titles, and then Grayson got put through a ladder. And then for the Raw side, we got Awesome Truth, with R-Truth getting his WrestleMania moments after all these years, getting the Raw titles. So we got two champions again for the SmackDown and Raw tag divisions. This is exactly what we need. Then we move on to Rey Mysterio and Andrade taking on Santos, Escobar, and Dominik Mysterio. Now, I wasn't overly interested in this match. I feel like we've seen the LWO versus Santos thing for a very long time. Feels like Dominik was just thrown into this match, and Andrade was also just thrown into this match. So, it didn't quite grab me, this match. What they did in the match, they did some really cool stuff. I mean, we saw a double crossbody type thing from Rey and Andrade. We saw Santos do some good work. Dom sold his ass off as per usual, and then all of a sudden there's some big ass men masked like Rey Mysterio helping out Rey and Andrade, and I'm like, what's happening here? Who are these guys? Did LWO get some new members? Turns out it's Travis Kelce and some other guy, some other American football player. Not sure what the point of this was. A cheap pop, I guess, for the Philadelphia fans, but I don't see the point in this. Does this mean Santo or LWO and Legado continues? Because I don't need that in my life either. I don't know, man. They could have done better with this. They could have done better. In other words, at the end of the day, Rey Mysterio got the win with Andrade, and Santos and Dom are left looking like idiots once again. Then we got brother versus brother, Yeet versus no Yeet, me versus me, Jey versus Jimmy Uso, and this was a match I was actually really excited for. It's giving me Bret Hart and Owen Hart vibes at WrestleMania. It's giving all those vibes, but didn't give those vibes in the ring now, did it? It was kind of underwhelming. It was really underwhelming. It didn't quite hit. It felt like they had the same movesets, but we know they have the same movesets, so nothing was changing. There was about 20 super kicks exchanged, and it just became very monotonous. It didn't change gears at any point. It stayed in second gear, for example. It didn't build. There was no ring psychology. They just did super kicks and moves. They tried to have a old school bloodline cinema moment, but didn't quite hit. Didn't quite hit. We could see through it. It's I don't know. It just didn't hit this match. Didn't have the chemistry, or they didn't. I don't know. Maybe they're just too similar that it's not going to work. You know, Owen and Brett were similar, but at the same time, not similar at all. They both had the technical aspects. Owen had a bit more high flying, you know, a little bit more faster style. Brett was a bit more slower style. They were different. I feel like Jimmy and Jey are too similar. Jey ended up hitting a spear and a splash on Jimmy Uso and ended up getting the win at the end of the day. Yeah, I don't know what to say. We didn't even see Solo Sikoa. I thought Solo would get involved in some fashion, but I guess not. Then we had the match between Jade Cargill, Naomi, and Bianca Belair taking on Damage Control. And Damage Control had a really cool entrance with the Japanese ladies and the fans and everything. It was a cool entrance, I'm not going to lie. And then we had a killer entrance for Team Gyat. Sorry. We had a killer entrance for Bianca, Naomi, and Jade Cargill, where this looked like Avengers type stuff. They were on some elevated platform, it came down. I do think they could have stuck with one generic song rather than splitting all three songs. I feel like sometimes that's a bit like clunky, but cool entrance nonetheless. They all looked really cool, all looked really good and fit the part. Then we moved on to the match where we saw Naomi and Bianca Belair do most of the work with the members of the Damage Control. Jade came in, did her stuff. Her stuff looked good. What she did do, she didn't do much, but what she did do looks good. That's all that really matters. And then at the end of the day, Asuka missed Kairi instead of missing Bianca Belair. It all broke down from there, and Jade ended up hitting her finisher on Dakota Kai and got the win for her team. Then we had Sami Zayn versus Gunther. Now, before the match, Sami Zayn was with his family. He was getting some motivational support from his wife, from his little boy, and yeah, it was just wholesome stuff. And then he sees Chad Gable. Chad Gable also gives him some motivation. He sees Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens does the same thing, and out goes Sami. Sami and Gunther had a banger match, a really, really good match. For me, up to this point, was then match of the night, for sure. Sami selling his ass off, doing exactly what he does best, which is literally selling. You can't expect anything else from Sami Zayn. And then Gunther just beating the hell out of Sami over and over, landing everything, power bombs, clotheslines, splashes. And while he's doing all this, he's just giving it the yap to Sami's wife, and Sami's wife is not having it. Anyway, Sami Zayn eventually hulks up, like actually hulks up, Hulk Hogan style, and fights back, and he lands a haluva kick, a brainbuster on the turnbuckle. So from the top rope onto the turnbuckle, we've seen people like Ospreay do it in the past. And then he lands 2 haluva kicks and beats Gunther. 666 days, done. Intercontinental, the greatest Intercontinental Championship reign, done. Sami Zayn just ended it. Now, I don't know how to feel about this, because in the moment I'm happy. In the moment I'm happy for Sami. Prior to this, I thought, no, Chad has to be the one to do it. But then when it happened, I'm like, I'm happy with it. I'm happy Sami did it. So I guess that's the true emotion. The way you actually feel is the true emotion, not the way your brain wants you to feel prior to the match. You know, me predicting how the match was going to go. Sami Zayn deserves the world, man. He really does. He's one of the nicest guys. He works hard. He's doing his thing. And clearly there's a story between him and Chad. Clearly there is a story. So let's not go too far into it. Let's not get too upset. There's a story, and I trust the story. Finally, we move on to the main event. Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins, The Rock, and Roman Reigns. Now, whoa. Roman Reigns, The Rock, Cody, Seth, star power in that ring. Absolute star power. Anyway, Cody has his big entrance, typical Cody Rhodes entrance. I assume they're going to save something big for tomorrow night. Seth Rollins, same thing. Huge outfit. I don't know what he's wearing. He's Mary Poppins looking ass. Really, I don't know what he was wearing. But anyway, Seth Rollins looked good. Then The Rock comes out wearing the People's Champion belt. I don't know. That championship is about as relevant as the Stomp Wrestling Predictions Championship belt. That's how it is. Anyway, he was wearing that championship belt, but his entrance was badass. He had a killer entrance with the fire in the Brahma bull. Ooh, Rock's entrance was so good. Roman comes out, also just a very basic, classic Roman Reigns entrance. I assume something's being saved for tomorrow. Banger match though, banger match. It started off slow. They milked it. I thought, okay, they're gonna milk it. I'm expecting this. But they really milked it. It felt like it took The Rock a while to get into this match. But once they got into it, boys and girls, once they got into it, they cooked. They really cooked. We saw Rock go through a table. We saw Rollins get speared through the barricade. We saw them fighting out on the stage. We saw them fighting in the crowd. We saw The Rock obviously using his director within, or his board role within WWE, using that power and telling the ref, you can't do this, don't count, don't disqualify, blah blah blah. And that was an interesting dynamic. Not sure how I feel about that, but a very interesting dynamic nonetheless. Great match. The build to the climax of that match was excellent. In the end, we saw Cody Rhodes eat a people's elbow and take the pin. Cody Rhodes took the pin. That was probably the last person I expected to take a pin, but it tells me something. It fills me with hope for tomorrow. Cody's not getting pinned twice. Cody is not getting pinned twice. It's just not happening. So it fills me with hope that Cody wins tomorrow night and it finishes the story. But with the outcome of tonight, we now have bloodline rules for tomorrow night, which is basically what happened tonight, if I'm being honest. Real good stuff. I enjoyed the show. Some matches were mid. Becky and Rhea's match, good. The tag match, really good. The final, or the six-pack match, really good. The final tag match, really good. And then Sami and Gunther, really good. Jey and Jimmy, no. The women's tag match is what it is. Then also the other matches were just, they were just there, Rhea and Santos' match was just there. So very mid in between. Good opening, good ending. That's all I have to say. See you guys tomorrow for WrestleMania Night 2, where Cody Rhodes finishes his story.